Here we are. It's the end of November. It's cold. It's not snowy, but it's dark. We are in Helsinki at ReCoTech 2019. We make an interview with our partner KPMG. So we speak to Sarah Sipilä from KPMG Global Strategy. Really looking forward to talk to her. Okay, here we are with Global PropTech leaders, an interview with KPMG, one of our partners. I'm sitting next to Sarah Sipilä from KPMG Finland.
Hello.
Welcome.
Happy to be here with you, Wouter.
Yeah, we are here at ReCoTech.
This is awesome.
How has it been for you?
Oh, it's the best event of the year, I think.
It's unbelievable. It's like 12 o'clock nearly, so we have the morning sessions behind us. It's just unbelievable what is happening.
Yeah, the space is amazing.
Yeah, the space is really amazing.
Yeah.
It is like an old train station. It's inside, and it's just amazing what they put up here.
We've got all of the construction equipment. We've got scaffolding. We're in a container right now.
Yeah. So tell me something about you. What do you do at KPMG?
So I'm involved with strategy, and I work with companies, a wide variety of companies throughout the real estate and construction value chain. Starting from building materials, building technology, to design planning, construction, developers, transactions, really all throughout. Helping companies kind of decide where to grow, where to invest, thinking about how to transform in terms of technology. I also serve other sectors. Unfortunately, I can't focus only on PropTech and real estate and construction, but this is my favorite piece of what we do.
So what kind of strategies do you bring to the table to those construction and real estate companies?
Yeah, so the conversations I'm having a lot right now is that companies are really realizing that they need to change and they need to transform and they don't know how. And so we're having conversations about, for example, how to digitalize the supply chain, how to use new construction techniques, how to bring in different kind of digital platform tools that help them transform their businesses. I'm also evaluating different growth opportunities, doing market studies, helping them identify potential targets or potential places to invest. And I also work with growth companies looking to fundraise, and so we might do a piece of strategy work for them, helping them kind of figure out how to enter a certain market, and then we work closely with the corporate finance team to access funding. So it's a really broad variety of stuff that we do.
Yeah, cool. Is it also about data strategies and stuff like that?
We do that too, yeah. The nice thing about KPMG is that we have a really full scope of advisory services that we can offer. So it might not be me, but we can offer the full scope from strategy, technology advisory, cybersecurity.
Yeah, that's also a big one.
Yeah, exactly. Digital transformation, fundraising, integration, carve out, legal, tax, audit, everything.
Cool. So tell me a little bit about your background, because your last name is really Finnish, but your English is not really that Finnish accent.
Exactly. I'm hoping that I don't have a Finnish accent at all. Because I'm from New York originally, and I've been in Finland actually almost 20 years at this point. I came in 2001 and have been here most of the time ever since. So I never really knew that I would necessarily end up doing all kinds of stuff in real estate and construction, but I did my first project when I was with Booz & Company in my former life and worked with a building technology company doing a big growth strategy for them. I identified about 500 million in growth opportunities for them at that time.
Wow.
And it's been really cool to see them implement that strategy and stuff we talked about then, how to bring more technology into the building and how to get people to invest more in the technology to get lower life cycle costs, which was a huge challenge back then in 2005. To really see that kind of come to where we are now, it's still a challenge, but I think we've made a huge amount of progress where people are realizing that the benefit of putting things that are more expensive into the buildings to enable things later on, which is exciting.
Yeah, so how do you see where we stand? Last week we had an event in New York, and one of your colleagues was speaking there about the Global PropTech survey from KPMG. Can you tell us a little bit about the survey and what do you find?
Exactly. So, I mean, I think we're making progress. What we see really is, I think it's something like 58% of companies have, a digital strategy, not maybe enterprise-wide, but in some areas.
58.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, that's up from like 52 in the last 2 years, which I think, we are we're making progress, but there are still gaps. I mean, we have leaders now in the companies that have been appointed. I think it's 95% have a digital, transformation kind of innovation leader now, and most of them are reporting to the CEO. So I think we're getting there in terms of that, but a lot of these leaders actually don't have a technical or digital background.
Okay.
So
So where did they come from? Still from real estate and a construction background?
Yes, some finance as well. And so, I mean, what we're seeing is we're starting to do some of the right things, but there's still a gap. There's still a big gap, and I think that the companies don't know, what to do now. And the survey results and what I hear from clients, I think, are really in line. Is that they now know we really need to do something, and a lot of them, are thinking what and how now.
Yeah. So it is in the boardroom.
Yes.
So people are talking about it at the right level.
Exactly.
So they should all come here at ReCoTech to see and find out what they can do.
And I think a lot of them are, which is really great to see, that we see a huge amount of the more established players. It's not just an event for startups. I think we're seeing, the people realize that this is an event and really interested in what these companies are doing. So I'm excited.
Cool. So can you tell us a little bit, because you told, companies are now into the what and into the how, what they can do. Can you give them a little bit of tips and advice, what they can do?
So, I mean, what I'd like to see more of is companies kind of, establishing sort of an ecosystem and, working with and piloting and potentially even investing in some of these startups, making small bets. I don't think you have to go big, but I think we have to have an environment where we can test some stuff out. And we don't know at this point, I think, which solutions are going to be the ones that, are the winners long term, because there's so many, it's so fragmented today.
Yeah, it's really fragmented. Yeah, everybody is in his niche.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, what we see in Finland, I've identified along with PropTech Finland. We've got a list of like 191 companies in Finland.
Only Finland.
Only Finland.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean is huge, by the way, right? And I mean, this is more than Unisu has, and I mean, many of the other like people that are gathering these lists of companies. So, and I'm finding more like every week. Cool. I'm sure I'm going to have more like after this event. I tried to get to 200 before today, but we didn't get there. We didn't get there. But I'd like to see a bit of consolidation as well. I'd like to see some investors come in and take 2 to 3 companies and put them together and say, this is maybe solving a bit more of a larger problem, because I think that's a barrier for these bigger companies as well, is they have this huge business and they don't really want to work with like 20 different solutions
just one question.
To solve these different pieces of their problem. One example of that is the construction software bit. I mean, because there's just so many little pieces. Of course, there are big players like Autodesk, and I mean, they want to come in and they've bought, PlanGrid and Build Connected, and I mean, so they're looking at that and realizing that that's the way to go.
To bring everything together.
Yeah. But I'm kind of hoping that there'll be like a smaller startup that'll like somehow gain traction. I'm kind of rooting for the smaller guys.
Yeah. So what do you think is, when we talk about PropTech companies from Finland, which companies are you really excited about?
So, I mean, I was just in the pitching competition, and I think, we had some really good companies there. I think, ConGrid is a really good one. I think Chaos Architects is another interesting one. Cubicasa was there. They just got some really interesting, good funding.
Yes.
There are others that I think in this space that are larger and not just startups. I think we've got like some interesting players in the building automation field. And I mean, these guys have been around for like 10 years, but in my mind, there's PropTech just as much as the rest of them, because they're really putting the brains in the building. And a great company that I know is Fidelix, which, they have a pretty well-recognized Nordic kind of solution for building automation, and they've done really well, still growing hugely. So I think that there's a lot of different types of companies, and there seems to be room for everybody. But I think in the next like 2-3 years, we're going to kind of see who some of the winners are. And I mean, when we looked at these companies, really, on a median basis, if you look at the median size, you're talking about like 400K in terms of revenue. So it's still like they're just tiny companies.
Tiny.
Yeah.
So, and how are we going to create like a better business model for them as well, for the PropTech companies, but also for the corporate companies? Because maybe the size of Finland or the Netherlands or Germany is too small still. So we need to do some more, together in Europe.
Yes.
But how do you see that?
Well, I see roles like for global organizations like Global PropTech and like KPMG, because we're everywhere, and so we can create connections not just in the local market, but create connections elsewhere. And so I think it's needed for players like us to kind of facilitate those conversations, bring people together. I'd like to see more foreign capital come into Finland and start investing, because the investment sizes are still pretty small. Again, the median investment size is like 1.1 million in these companies. We've had like 136 million over the last like 6 years or so, which I think is pretty sizable, but it does need to grow. And the size of
the guys from Fifth Wall are here, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be cool. We should have some conversations.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is some initiative now to, launch a PropTech fund in the Nordics. And so there's some conversations going on in the background now, which will be exciting to see in the next couple of months where that goes. Because I think a lot of the investors don't understand this space yet. And many of them, I mean, we work a lot with private equity, and I'm having conversations with private equity. Of course, the companies are too small right now. So, they're really interested in the space. When I go and talk to them, they're like, oh, this is amazing. You have 200 companies here, but how big are they? Yeah. And then, so, of course, the VCs are more used to, in Finland, looking at, software companies, software as a service, gaming, so they're just not fully aware of real estate and construction. And then, of course, with the down cycle kind of here or coming, then I think, even more investors are thinking like, do I really want to touch this space? But I think they're missing the point, because this is actually untouched. Yeah, it's a huge opportunity. And I mean, we're only in the beginning of disruption here. So I think that this is the time to get in here, right? I think so too. I totally agree with you, Sarah. Yeah. Well, if we round this up, if we look into the glass ball for the future, what do you see in 5 years for the industry? As said, we are at the starting point. Yep. What do you see for construction and real estate in the near future? I see that, in the next 5 years, the established players are going to be much more active in this space, because they have to be, and they're recognizing it now. And if we understand that we need to act, I think that we're going to be much closer to, the how, and we're going to have some success stories, which I think is really exciting. I'd like to see that, PropTech sort of disappears, because it'll be so integrated in what we're doing. Yeah. That's what I'd like to, but I don't think that we're going to be there in 5 years. I think it's too that's too fast for the industry. Yeah, it's not going to happen in 5 years, but that's where we need to go. Yeah. Just integrated in technology, digitalization, it does need to be in your business model. It just needs to be every day. Yeah. Should be cool. Yeah. One more thing, together with KPMG, we always make the KPMG overview with all the PropTech companies in there. Yep. We should have had a lot of Finnish companies in there next year. Yes. It would be great to work together on that as well. I just got the email from Sander, yes, and now I'm a little bit overwhelmed, because I have 200 companies almost. Yeah. And so we're trying to figure out, well, how do we document that, and how do we, put it in a format, because I don't know how many companies, it was like 500 pages last year, and then now I in Finland, in like the smallest country ever, have... It would be a good example for all the other countries as well. But I'm really excited, because actually, like, what I'd really like to see is... us get, like from the Nordics. I'd like to see our colleagues in the Nordics, come and find those 100, 200 companies in each market, because my clients don't just want to know what's happening in Finland. No. My clients are regional, or if not global. And so for them, like, it's great that we know about what's happening in Finland, but we want to know globally.
Yeah, well, I think that's the
This
main
is a
point for
global
the
market.
overview as well,
Yeah.
because then you have like an
Exactly.
overview of what is happening in this kind of
Exactly.
space in IoT.
Yes.
And I see a couple of companies that work in Finland, but I also can connect them, compare them to companies from the
Exactly.
Netherlands, from Spain,
Exactly.
from the USA,
Yep.
from all
Yep.
over the world. And I think that's pretty good that you do that as KPMG. So
Cool.
happy to work together on that as
Yes,
well.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, have fun this afternoon. What are you
You
looking
too.
forward to the most here at ReCoTech?
Well, I mean, I'm still, working on a lot of stuff now. I mean, we have our panel discussions. So I had a talk about the Global PropTech, survey results earlier today, as well as some of the analysis that we talked about the companies in Finland. So we've got a panel discussion coming up.
Okay, nice.
A little bit later today, and I'm looking forward to meeting more startups and having conversations about PropTech with the established companies that are here. So it's going to be a really intense day.
Cool. How can people connect to you?
So you can find me on the Brella app. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can also come to the KPMG stand and hear talk to some of my other colleagues, and they can put people in touch with me. So I'm out there.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.